Might get long-winded. Good evening. I want to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We're happy to have all of you here with us tonight. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Police Chief John Slaughter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to hear from Brianna Eddy from the Wendell Christian Church. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please bow your heads with me? Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support. May discussions be characterized by respect and humility, fostering unity and cooperation. Help us to be attentive to the feedback and needs of our community, working together for the greater good. May this meeting be a reflection of your love and care for all. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right, there's a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
We have no one signed up for public comment tonight, but I'm going to remind you again that you can participate in public comment by signing up right here at the night of the meeting. You have 3 minutes to speak, or you can submit written statements via email to the town clerk on the Friday prior to our meeting on Monday before 5 p.m., and it will be read into the record for 3 minutes, length of 3 minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move into section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. And the first is item 4A, a presentation on Parks and Recreation programs and projects. We're going to hear from our Parks and Recreation Director, Jeff Pulaski. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. So I'm here today to give an update on all things Parks and Recreation. And as you'll see, we've been very busy. So here's an overview. We'll be talking about the activity update from this past year compared to the previous year. Upcoming registrations. We'll talk a little bit about a resident versus non-resident registration date, capital project updates, and then all other things that we're working on. So here's this year's comparison to last year's numbers for our youth sports. And as you'll see, they're either maintaining or a majority of them are going up, which is good and exciting and expected with the growth that we're seeing here. These are our adult numbers for the past year compared to the previous year. You'll notice a fairly large jump in our men's softball leagues. Philip's done an amazing job of taking over that program and changing a few things and adding some things in there, and he's really generating a lot of interest in that program. All right, so these are the community center programs and classes that we're currently offering. We have an art class offered on Monday evenings. The Zumba fitness on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, those are the open classes. Our senior Zumba and senior drumming classes, which are two of the classes that we took over that the senior center was getting ready to cut funding for, so we ended up taking over those programs to continue those. Our community garden is going strong again. It's growing great. It's an awesome group that spends a lot of time out there. Our bird watching is back in session. The guy that leads that's back from a surgery, and he's easing his way back into things. Pickleball continues to be popular on Fridays. We generally have both courts going with people seating, waiting to play on those. And then our senior walk-in every morning, Monday through Friday. All right, so these are our camps that we're offering this summer and other services. So we do have a leadership camp. This is a team-based camp that kind of teaches teens life lessons, how to balance checkbooks, how to look at their bank accounts, how to spend properly. That camp has been going on for, I would guess, 3 to 4 years now. It's very popular. And we are offering a baseball softball camp through East Wake High School. The coach's staff does that one. And since I've put this together, he did add another date in July to host that camp because he does have such good numbers. The basketball camps, we had low numbers for that, so we did end up having to cancel those out. I got one for one session and 3 for another one. Soccer camp, which is new this year, which is being ran through the Noose River Football Club. That is new this season, and that's run in conjunction with Philip Smith. The STEM camp, which is ran by the Brainy Builders Group. It's a mobile summer education camp, and they specialize in the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This is the first year we have hosted that group. Track out camp dates that are coming up. And you can see our attendance numbers from this past year to the previous year, which was an increase of 234 participants in that camp. And a lot of that's due to opening up other dates. We used to just strictly do the track for Lake Myra, and since then we have opened it up to when other schools are tracked out as well. The summer food programs is going again this year for ages 18 and under. That will run from June 25th to August the 6th. And then running the food bank again this year, which is the first Tuesday of each month. So upcoming registrations that we have open right now is obviously Track Out Camp is open for the July the 8th through the 26th session. That new fall soccer camp that we're running for 3 to 11-year-olds will run from May the 1st to June the 30th. And then we have our men's softball registration open right now for the fall season. So I wanted to touch a little bit on the resident versus non-resident registration dates. In the past, we do end up with some participants on a waiting list that don't get in time, or we just don't have room to let them in. And I know the board has shown an interest in having a non-resident versus resident sign-up session. So we will be implementing that in programs moving from July 1st forward. We will open registration for residents only for the first 2 weeks of registration to allow residents first come, first serve, and then open it up to all non-residents after that 2-week period. So some of the capital project updates, the Wendell Park improvements, Field 3 improvements, lighting work is scheduled to begin at the beginning of June. They are behind on that. They're still waiting on a part to come in to get those lights in. But the new scoreboard and the batter's eye were installed back in March. The restroom, shelter, and concession building renovation was completed in May, much needed. Only positives have come out of that. It's a lot lower maintenance on that building than the old building. A lot more stalls for everyone to use. There's usually during tournaments, the women's line is 10, 15, 20 people deep. I've yet to be out there to see a line for that building yet. In the disc golf update, the 4 new disc golf holes have been added, and new signage and the short tee pads were installed in the previous year. And in the budget that just passed, we'll be going in this year and putting in the middle tee pads, leaving only the longs after that. Hollybrook Park update, the shelter schedule is scheduled for install early July. The restroom, the walls are up and they have the roof installed, scheduled to finish in July. The ADA playground and adventure play scheduled for late summer installs. Sports courts and the parking lot are scheduled for late summer. Those are scheduled at the same time to cut costs and being the same company that would be doing that. And then the site amenities being trash cans, benches, dog waste stations, those type of things are scheduled for August. The Buffalo Creek Greenway Phase 1 design team is currently wrapping up the final stages of the construction documents for this phase. Buffalo Creek Greenway will soon be able to issue their bidding pending, their set of bidding pending the town review and approval. The project includes a 12-foot wide asphalt path for 0.82 miles, plus 2 precast concrete bridges to get over some low-lying wetland areas. And then we'll be bringing in some native drought-tolerant seeding and native plants. The Main Street Greenway update, the design team is in the final stages of permitting and construction document production, with the bidding for construction anticipated near the close of the fiscal year. So this project's getting really close as well to being ready to put out. The project connects Fox Street to South Main Street, crossing over some small wetlands, Hare Street, Forest Lane, and a tributary of Buffalo Creek along the way. This trail is going to be about 0.59 miles in length and would also be 12-foot wide asphalt with 2 proposed boardwalks. Then the Pleasant Grove Community Center update. Design team has completed the schematic designs, and they're also incorporating feedback from the public engagements. Design team is working on the SHPO on the collaboration for this project. The community center will feature flexible performing arts space, public meeting rooms, recreational gym, facility offices, rentable public offices, as well as some gathering spaces. So these are all things that we've got coming up that we're already kind of have in the works. Would be 4 new pickleball courts to be added at the Wendell Park once our fall T-ball season concludes. Hopefully, we can get these in line to open up about the same time that the Hollybrook Park would open up. CHA Concepts has been retained and will begin the design of the Wendell Athletic Field Complex. I did get an email from them the other day and getting things scheduled up for like a kickoff meeting with the town staff. The community center gym floor will be replaced in this coming up here after July 1. Much needed. It's time. It's served its life. The Action Sports Park, which would be like skate bike park with a pump track and splash pad in Wendell Park. That design is scheduled for fiscal year 26 with construction in 27. New recreation center design in fiscal year 2026 with construction in 2027. And then the Pleasant Grove Neighborhood Park design would be in fiscal year 26 with construction in 27. Actually, I want to bounce back. Also on that, we have completed the baseball field that was budgeted for over there was completed maybe 2 weeks ago, a week and a half. So that project is done, and they're very excited to get started on that. I did send over a usage agreement draft over to Asa Bell. He's looked over it, sent over some of his changes, and so I've got that sent over for maybe it's for like a final review on that, and then that field will be ready for all to use. All right, that's all for that one.
You know how fond I am of our parks program, so I could just burst. Every one of these makes me very happy. So thank all of you for your hard work. Anything from the board?
I'll keep mentioning on slides like this one how excited I am for future outdoor basketball courts as well in the town park.
All right.
All
Nothing
right.
else? Okay, thank you. Let's start the presentation on the East Wake Senior Center.
All right. All right, so we're going to be talking about the execution of taking over the East Wake Senior Center. Special Populations and Events Coordinator position that or the goals, we'll be talking about the Special Populations and Event Coordinator position. Their current fitness and activities, current Eastern Wake Senior Center Auxiliary Board, and then the proposed Senior Advisory Commission. So the town of Wendell will begin taking over the Eastern Wake Senior Center operations as of July the 1st. Resources for senior staff will remain in place through July the 31st to ensure a smooth transition. They'll work side by side with the hiree that the town has for that position so they can kind of see what a day-to-day operations looks like at that facility. The town plans to retain all paid instructors and volunteer employees. We have had a meeting with all the instructors. They're all excited to stay on board. And the 2 part-time employees that are currently there also are going to stay with the town. They'll just become town employees, which is also going to help with that transition period. So they'll see familiar faces as they come in and when the town takes over. So we've thought that was important. All programs will be retained and evaluated during the first year. We thought very important that they don't notice a big change. We really just kind of want them to see a new face over there, that we're not taking away any of the programs that they have. We're not making major changes to any of the programs that they offer. So the goals for taking over the senior center are had to have that smooth transition from resources for seniors to the Wendell Parks and Recreation Department. Offer community-based services and programs that are inclusive, that being recreational, fitness, arts, and likewise. Explore educational opportunities for health and well-being. Provide peer interaction and social activities, and offer a place of encouragement, growth, and support. So the position has been offered and hired. We're really excited to get her on board. She has 7 years of experience with the North Carolina Senior Games. She also has special events experience as well. So we're really excited to get her on board, and she has a lot of experience in this age demographic. Recruitment began with the goal of staff starting on or around July the 1st. This position will be responsible for planning and implementation of programs, activities, events, and trips for senior citizens and individuals with intellectual disabilities. The first year, we really kind of see this person really focusing on senior center only, just to help ensure that transition, to put away any nervousness over there. So they'll kind of shadow me with the special events, and then we've already got that connection with Wake County Special Olympics, is slowly kind of bringing that on board after about a year. Eventually, the position will also create, plan, and coordinate special events for the town. Work includes providing supervision over part-time and volunteer workers. The main focus will be the senior center for that first year of employment. So this is an example of what a current month of activities looks like. So some of these are paid instructors, some of them are volunteers. And some of these programs are evidence-based programs, and evidence-based programs are programs that have been tested and in controlled situations, proven effective, and are based on research and data. A lot of these are balancing classes and those type of things that are needed for senior citizens. But so this is an example of what a normal week at the senior center looks like. And so currently, the Eastern Wake Senior Center does have an auxiliary board. It currently manages the Eastern Wake Senior Center, which provides a forum for seniors and community representatives to interact with the center's staff, support the center's mission, and to inform the development of a senior and community programs. The board represents Eastern Wake Senior Center members and is strictly advisory with no governance and oversight of the senior center staff. This board is currently made up of 19 members and is open to seniors participating in the center's programs. Members are participants who regularly attend the center and who can regularly participate in board meetings. The board maintains an average of 60% members over the age of 60. New members are nominated by current members of the center staff to serve 4-year terms. And members who have completed 8 years can join as an alumni member. And they do have a minimum age of 18, but they do not have a vote. And so we would be proposing a senior center, a senior advisory commission to replace that the auxiliary board. The town would recommend establishing the senior advisory commission created in the spirit of the auxiliary board, but maintaining within the town's current commission structure. The draft charter has been developed to reflect the commission's purpose and goals. The charter is modeled after the existing Parks and Recreation Commission. And we'll be bringing that to a future board meeting for adoption.
Just a question on that. I know that we reconsolidated the tree board earlier this year. What's the thought on why create a new board? If we're going to bring this into Parks and Rec Services, why not let Parks and Rec's board, which...
The way we've got it structured would be members of this board would specifically be for the seniors. Instead of making them feel like we've taken away their board as well, which is kind of their voice, would be installing a board for them.
So you essentially have an age requirement, restriction, however you want to say it. Same makeup.
I'm not, I'd want a little bit more conversation around, before we go creating a new board, that we have town staff's abilities, we have town staff's time that we have to think about, but I don't know that creating a board, especially when we say the existing board is not an appointed board, like I think of the appointed boards that we create that are voting on things that come back to us. So I understand that's their voice, and I certainly don't want them to lose that voice, and I'm fine for a monthly meeting of folks concerned about it, if that's, but I don't know that, it seems like if we're gonna try to create some efficiencies in this process by going in and providing all of the same services and doing it in this way, that maybe we don't have to create more work for ourselves as well.
There is-
I just don't know that setting up a separate board that solely just advises you on a thing.
I see what you're saying, but I also think that when you're drawing from the population for those boards, and you've got people who are parents of kids that play T-ball, and then you've got someone who maybe is on the Little Strutters team, you're really pulling from different populations, and I think they probably would like to have their own. I think their voice might be diluted, because realistically, they would only be 2 or 3 maybe on the whole Parks and Rec board. I don't know.
My thought was that it gives, I would naturally think folks that were involved with the senior center would be now more inclined to be involved with a consolidated Parks and Rec board. And I would hope that the same way that we've made goals of trying to make appointments in ways that are representative, I'm not opposed to even a board for them. I just, let's think through it in the interim, because there may be ways to create some efficiencies there without cutting off anybody else's voice.
Mark's gonna say something, but yes, I do.
If it would be helpful in advance of a board discussion, because this is a board space. The board would have to identify that they have value in establishing a voice that y'all want to hear from in this space versus one that you already have. And so there's different values, I think, that are being pointed out to that. But we can provide you what the proposed wording is and what the Parks and Rec Board looks like. And we can help y'all provide you some information to facilitate a discussion. As we mentioned, that we want to make sure we get this right, and that we take time and work with you on that. And so we're glad to bring back materials and let y'all talk it out as a board, because this is your ownership.
I certainly see your point about efficiency and staff hours, and I completely get that. But I do think this might be a unique case for
We can bring something.
them having their own. Did you have something, Commissioner Deloach?
Is the idea to eliminate the auxiliary board and replace it?
Yes, sir.
I guess my concern would be if our concern is to minimize change and impact, and let's see how things go for a year, essentially saying to the folks that have carried the torch for the place for so long, just to say, yeah, we're doing away with that, we're creating this. In my mind, if they can work together somehow and not eliminate, I feel like that would be, from the senior center perspective, that would be better. I don't know that that's better from the town perspective, but I know that will be a concern.
And I feel like that's what town staff's trying to create here, right, is a duplication of that. And I don't disagree. I appointed someone intentionally to Parks and Rec that I knew a lot about trees once we consolidated the tree board, because I wanted someone at the table with that knowledge. I'm sure that we can think through this. It's an opportunity. You could age restrict appointments to the planning board. You could create 2 seats that are senior focused for that purpose. Like, there's another way to do it without creating a whole separate set of meetings. But I understand that we're trying to achieve a lot of different goals here. So just wanted to raise that up.
I would think the auxiliary board reports essentially to another body. Could that same board report to our town board?
So
To have a person,
Commissions are appointed by this body, and they're an extension of you to provide policy advice and recommendations back to you. I nor staff have any control. We will staff and facilitate materials for meetings. So for our consistency from a staff standpoint, setting it up similar to what we work with other boards and commissions that meet the intent of the auxiliary was how it was fashioned. Because it would be an extension of you. The current auxiliary board does not report to the town in any manner. And so one part about bringing that function into the town is establishing the appropriate oversight, which is through the Board of Commission for appointed boards and commissions. The number of people, the nature they serve and all is part of y'all's discussion as a board.
Okay. let's think. Thank you.
Anything else? Well, thank you again. It's very exciting. Item 4C is an update on the fiscal year 2024 Town of Wendell Sidewalk Program. We're going to hear from Public Works Director Brian Bray. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Board of Commissioners. The town of Wendell began a robust sidewalk program in FY '22. The initial intent of the program was to increase connectivity and walkability throughout our neighborhoods and our downtown. Areas of our greatest concern were the existing walkways that were in severe disrepair, sidewalks without handicap accessible ramps, areas where sidewalks suddenly ended, the sidewalks to nowhere, as they were called for a while, and areas without sidewalk that have heavy foot traffic. During FY '24, the Public Works Department continued working on identified areas, and through a combination of in-house and managed installation, the department has installed just under a half mile of new sidewalk this year in the area of 2,443 linear feet. The sidewalk program update for this year is a presentation by picture. Okay, so the first one here is the Boxley Drive project. This was a little over 1,100 linear foot. This is all new sidewalk that was added in, as well as 4 handicap accessible ramps. We also did a little stormwater repair and street repair as part of this. And then you'll see the street trees that were added in. There was a utility project that impacted this area, so when it was done, new sidewalks and new street trees. This is my touch, evidently. Okay, there we go.
Power button.
There we go. All right, new curb at Parks and Rec. For years, the large slope there allowed, it was very hard for them to grow grass, to be able to put anything there, mulch to hold the bank in, so it was washing away. It was going into the parking lot and into the drive, and then it was also taking sediment into the stormwater drain. So what you'll see there is we've put a curb in now to hold the bank up and allow Parks and Rec staff to be able to put a material on there. And then the third slide will show where it actually channels it to the stormwater drain as it should. Second Street sidewalk addition. This is the area from Cypress to Ball on 2nd Street, and with this we added a handicap accessible ramp at Cypress and also one at Ball, and so you can walk that whole area there on 2nd Street. And that was all new sidewalk. Cook Street sidewalk addition, this is an area of about a block, and it was just in very poor condition. We had ground it for years and patched it and things like that, and it was just to the point where it needed to be replaced. So we've taken that out, we've put in new sidewalk and also 2 new handicap accessible ramps. And we have the Town Square sidewalk project. So we've basically completed the cube. We already had the sidewalk on 3rd Street, and then last year we did the piece on 2nd Street and on Cypress. And this year we took out kind of the unsightly railroad ties and things like that that kind of held the landscape bed in. Those are all gone. It goes all the way from 3rd Street all the way back to 2nd Street. It also connects to our walkway that goes to the gazebo. Everything has been leveled out, and some new gravel and parking bumpers as well. And we have the North Main sidewalk project. This was one of those sidewalks to nowhere spoken of. So you had a little piece of existing sidewalk coming from Academy. Now you have sidewalk going from Wendell Boulevard all the way to that existing piece. And then there's also a new handicap accessible ramp that's been added. Then we have 3rd Street concrete project. This is another area where sidewalks were in disrepair. This is on the southish side. And this goes from Wendell Falls Parkway almost to the funeral home. And what we did there, again, you can probably on the first one that says before, you can see some old ground or areas where we had ground down in the past. It just settled so bad that it needed to be taken out and then replaced. And then that was a snapshot of our most visible concrete projects. It's the whole team, Public Works team, that allows us to move forward on this sidewalk program. And so I just want to put a few pics below from our monthly reports that we put out to show some of the other work that the team does. So you have street maintenance over there. You might have seen this piece of equipment that's being used now. We have the ability to put down thermoplastic, which lasts a lot longer instead of just paint. So that's what we apply now for the parking lines and things like that. Stormwater maintenance. This is a little less intensive picture than some of them where we jet the pipes. We've literally jetted hundreds of pipes throughout the year. And then we dig out others, and then we also replace full cover pipes as well throughout the year. And then it's some pics of our outreach from our solid waste event, and then you have a stream cleanup that occurred. And then you'll see some of our downtown building and grounds folks. They're over there replanting trees. There's mortar and concrete work that goes on. And over between where Lake Myra Lights goes and the Wendell Women's Club parking area, you'll see new electrical posts that have been put up as well as new spigots for water, getting us ready for the town events. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I was riding around on my golf cart the other day, and I noticed several of these, and they just look fantastic. So thank y'all,
you.
really. And I told the town manager, the town square is just beautiful. Looks like a golf course. Yeah, I don't know who does that, but please thank them. It's really, it's beautiful.
It's pretty much everybody works on that.
Well, it looks fantastic. So thank y'all for that. It's something to be proud of. Anything from the board?
I was jotting down notes quickly, so I might have gotten these numbers wrong, but I think you said 2,400 linear feet this year. And I know that sort of the program's been around for a couple of years. How, are we trending up on capacity each year? I know it kind of varies depending on the projects, but what's the bigger snapshot since '22?
I can give you the exact amounts for the linear feet from each year. I believe last year's was around 1,500 linear feet that we were able to knock out. So we are trending upward, certainly.
Well, thank you. I second everything the mayor says. This is a big deal, and I mean, it's so visible everywhere you go in town, how much work y'all are doing,
Yeah.
and really good. A great work product, too, so thank you, and to your whole team.
I would add that the capacity of the department has increased, thanks to the funding, equipment,
Absolutely.
and staffing support of the board. And with that, they're able to accomplish more of the work in-house, and they're able to get a cheaper unit price. So we have the staff and equipment all costs, but the actual cost to install is significantly cheaper than the going out to an external contractor. So the larger projects or more complicated ones that we may want someone else's liability on, we outsource, and then the in-house tends to be the filling in the gaps and a lot of the replacement and maintenance, and so that complementary of services, of resources that y'all provide increase that amount that's possible each year, sir.
It's really starting to show where it's building on, you work on it, and then all of a sudden now you ride around and it's starting to really look like something. You really, really see it, so thank y'all for that.
Thank you all.
Great.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
this may come across as a joke, but it's meant to be serious. And I won't name other agencies, but in my history of watching governmental public works and other agencies do things, I historically ride by and see 6, 7, 8 supervisors and one person working. When I ride by and see Wendell PD, or Wendell, in this case, Public Works, PW, you guys are all working. And I think echoing the same points I've heard from Commissioner Eatman and the mayor is, the amount of stuff that you're accomplishing is amazing, given the resources that we have, and I appreciate it and thank you.
Thank you. It's a team effort, and we're all part of Team Wendell. So we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Quick question, Mayor. Maybe this is top secret, but I agree with what you say. Town Square looks fantastic, but I did ride by there today and something's happening currently. Is that?
At the town square,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of what would have been going on today.
I think I saw yellow tape. Hopefully it wasn't bad.
Oh, an area of sod. We
Yes.
don't know why. It just
Yeah.
died.
Okay.
And so we've replaced that to try to get it ready for July 2nd.
All right,
So,
enough.
yeah, so it's being water, and we're just trying to keep foot traffic to a minimum on that
Perfect.
one.
Keep it
Thank
off so people won't walk on it.
Yes,
for
yes, ma'am.
the Time being, yeah.
Okay.
It looks great, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you all.
Okay, we have no public hearings tonight, so we're going to move to our administrative items. And the first, item 6A, is the adoption of fiscal year 2024 year-end budget ordinance amendment. I'll hear from our finance director, Garrett Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. So yes, here to ask for a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2024 year-end budget amendment, budget ordinance amendment. It's statutorily required that we maintain a balanced budget, being revenues and fund balance appropriation equals our budgeted expenditures. It's not necessarily the actual numbers, but still just having to maintain that budgetary appropriation structure. The last time we came before you for this was somewhat of a mid-year amendment request back in March. But the year end is more so a broad stroke cleanup process, recognizing revenues that overperformed, recognizing some expenditures that may have unexpectedly we had to spend more than expected. It's also an opportunity to clean up some of the capital lines where we know that funds that were originally appropriated this year we're gonna take them out of this year, and you adopted them as part of your fiscal year 25 budget at your second May meeting. So I've provided some summary information from a higher top of the funnel level. Your most recent adopted or amended budget is just shy of 35 million. With this budget amendment request, which was included in your packet, it would bring it to just shy of 27 million, which is approximately an $8 million reduction. And you've also been provided with some kind of departmental summaries. I can go through them pretty quickly. Governing body, just increased legal fees was the main driver in that, and that's each year when we go through the budget process, we never know exactly how much we're going to have to need in those types of lines. We do our best based on trends, but any given year it could be a little bit higher. Administration, a little bit of an increase due to reclassifying the economic development specialist to the assistant to the manager position. So the majority of this increase of about 65,000 is being brought over from the economic development budget. Again, increased legal fees, some travel and training, additional FF&E for this facility that was kind of carried forward from the previous budget, FY23. IT had some increased contract support services. I believe they were our security system and the monitoring systems. The contracts were a little higher, adding in our police facilities. Financing was mostly increased due to salary-related expenses. We did have a retirement, which results in vacation payouts, which isn't necessarily anticipated. So that was the main factor there. Economic development was about a $400,000 decrease. Again, as we mentioned, some salary expenses were moved into admin, but also reducing the Brownfield program grant expenditures that will be expended in the upcoming fiscal 25 budget. Planning decreases primarily due to capital being rolled forward. Public buildings and grounds increased primarily due to, again, the current new town hall, just expenditures carrying forward where we thought we were going to be done in fiscal 23. Police, pretty large increase there. While we did have a reduction in salaries due to some lapsed salary from position vacancies, we did thank goodness, finally get several police vehicles in that we've had on order for quite a while. So having to pay for the upfit equipment for those vehicles. Additionally, last fiscal year in fiscal '23, you all approved the department to purchase rapid response, is that the terminology? Rapid response equipment and uniform. Again, supply chain issues that we're still recovering from. They were finally received in this fiscal year, so kind of just offsetting what we thought we were spending last year. Fire services, nominal increase due to taking on new facilities, both with the town. This is a larger facility, therefore it's a more expensive cost. We took on the senior center, that particular expense this current year. So again, small increases there. Public Works, large decrease due to Public Works, the new Public Works yard design and construction will be implemented in the coming fiscal year. Streets was a decrease in budget. The resurfacing contract came in under budget, and then even that contract came in under what we expected. So had a lot of savings there, along with additional capital that, again, the common trend carrying forward to next year. Stormwater decrease, we had a long vacancy with the stormwater manager that we eventually created a stormwater program administrator, which is a lesser grade, so there were some savings there, along with deferring the Northside Dam project. Moving to Parks and Rec, again, a large decrease due to the Pleasant Grove Community Center project and the Hollywood Park project and the athletic field complex project, a lot of those expenses being carried forward. And finally, non-departmental, which is primarily where we house the expenses for our health insurance, dental insurance, so on. Just had higher claim expenses than anticipated, so. And that is all for that. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
All right. Anything from the board? Any questions?
I have one question, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
Director Johnson, bear with me. I come from a world of P&L and cash flow, but just so I can figure this out. If we have $8 million of deferred expenses, at least for a year, short-term, obviously, and our revenue and fee structure stays the same, does that give us a short-term rise in the general fund balance, theoretically? I know it's short-term, but
Not necessarily, because a lot of these capital expenditures had associated revenues.
okay.
So we hadn't
So thus
received
they
any of the
come off.
revenues that were already balanced in themselves.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would also add that it's the way we calculate our fund balance is unobligated, and it's all re-obligated into next fiscal year on moving those capital to next year, so it doesn't show up as unobligated. When the auditor does the fund balance,
Correct.
it'll show up as obligated.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right.
Madam Mayor, I move we adopt the year-end budget ordinance amendment for fiscal year 2024 budget.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to adopt the year-end budget ordinance amendment for the fiscal year 2024. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank y'all. And our last item tonight is a request for temporary street closures for the fireworks display at the Wendell Community Park on Tuesday, July 2nd.
Good evening
Mr.
again. I'm here seeking a motion to authorize a temporary street closure of the requested streets for the fireworks display at Wendell Community Park, July the 2nd. The town of Wendell will be hosting a fireworks show Tuesday, July the 2nd at the Wendell Community Park in celebration of the 4th of July holiday. The special event necessitates the following closures. The Wendell Park on Monday, July the 1st, at the park entrance, and will remain closed until Tuesday, July the 2nd at 6 p.m., and remain open until the conclusion of the fireworks event at approximately 9:30. 3rd Street between Wendell Falls Parkway and Wendell Park. Martin Street between Cook and 3rd Streets would need to happen at approximately 3 p.m. and Third Street between Cypress Street and Wendell Falls Parkway would be closed at approximately 5 p.m. Landing View will close at the town property line at 3 p.m. All streets will remain closed until evaluated by the police department, but no later than 10:30. Upon the conclusion of the fireworks show, the crowd will be encouraged to clear the park so cleanup can begin. Activities at the event will include music and 18 food trucks. Visitors are encouraged to bring blankets and chairs and activities for their families to enjoy. Alcohol and personal fireworks are not allowed. Staff is requesting a motion to approve the following temporary street closures: Third Street between Cypress to Wendell Community Park, Martin Street between Third and Cook, and Landing View, once we get to the 500-car capacity inside of Wendell Park and at the Wendell Community property.
Any questions or comments?
Can you go back to the previous slide real quick? Very pro fireworks, very excited about this happening. Thank you. I want to make sure, just from like the communication perspective, I don't know that I totally understand what these bullets mean, especially the first one. So I don't understand what it's saying about Monday. And then I think it says that, and I think maybe it has something to do with the two entrances, but remaining closed until 6 o'clock and remaining open until 9:30.
Yeah,
That
so-
one was the one that
Yes.
I had trouble following.
So we prefer to close the park Monday night at 9 p.m. at dark. That way, when we show up Tuesday to set up for the fireworks event, we don't have to go chasing people out. And so the park would remain closed from that 9 p.m. until 6 p.m. the next day. So it's closed to the public for those times. 6 p.m. the event officially starts, so it opens at 6. And so that's why the park will remain closed until 6 p.m. And then the park will remain open until the conclusion of the event.
And then I think you said something from the next slide, which don't go to it yet, but about the park closing once there's a certain number of vehicles inside.
Yes, that's the amount of cars that we allow in that we can park in the open space over here.
And that would happen between 6 and 9:30.
That would
at
happen
some
once we
point.
get to 500 cars. Then they close off Landing View Drive.
At some point between 6
sir.
and 9:30, right?
But it's just closing to parking.
Parking only,
Not
yeah.
to more people, and they can ride the shuttle.
I think I understand the other ones. I mean, I think it's more of a comms thing, but just when y'all are publicizing it, I wouldn't copy and paste this the way it's worded.
And just so I'm clear, people will be entering in up Landing View, not down Third Street?
Yes.
Okay.
All cars and vehicles will be using Landing View this year, leaving Third Street open for pedestrians.
Okay.
In the past, we had used Third for shuttles. We've stopped that, and the shuttles will be coming to
Landing View
Landing
as
View.
well. Okay.
I think Dr. Luke's got to the bottom of it there. I think I would lead with that point moving forward, and I would over-communicate this for the next 2 weeks. I would much rather people be calling me to tell me that they're upset that we're shutting down Third Street and they had a plan to drive down it because they know, than for folks not to be aware, not to be able to get it, right? If we tell everybody, the people that want to get to the event will be able to, and that's the point.
Yep.
With that, Madam Mayor, I move we,
I'm sorry, one more on that point, just this last bullet, then make sure I'm tracking. Landing View at town property line closes at 3. How's that different than the park being closed to vehicle access until 6?
Because the park will be closed just on the park side, so Landing View and Third could still be open. And that allows customers to still get to the town hall up till a point where we have to stop.
And that's at 3?
Yes.
I got you.
And
Okay.
then at 3, we would close it there, just on the other side of the bridge, near the dog park. It would close at that point. So that way the residents of Stone Harbor can still get to their houses.
Madam Mayor, I move we authorize the temporary closure of the requested streets for the fireworks display at Wendell Community Park on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to authorize the temporary closure of the requested streets for the firework display at the Wendell Community Park on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. All right, let's move into our other business. Update on town board committees by town board members, and we'll start with Campo, Commissioner Eman.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a CAMPO meeting a couple of weeks ago. Biggest item, I think, was the adoption of the fiscal year 2025 Wake Transit Work Plan, which was adopted as recommended by the TAC. I think or TCC, excuse me. I think the interesting thing or note there is that there's still some outstanding questions around revenues that it's a regional question that we're working on sorting out between the county and Go Triangle, but look forward to that being resolved, hopefully as we move into the fiscal year, but always looking forward to good new transit investments around the region and especially in the east, including our micro transit.
Wendell Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors, Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We haven't had an additional fire board meeting, but I would just mention, this week we had a firefighter that was injured. His hand was burnt while responding to a call, so just keep that firefighter's thoughts in your family and your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, thank you for letting us know. All right, let's go to our commissioners' comments and start with you, Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Wanted to congratulate the Meet on Main Committee and the town staff. Town staff was, for the Meet on Main event that was held Friday, the rain stayed away from us. Staff was out there quite early in the middle of the day, and it was quite hot, getting everything set up. It was a warm event, but it was cool to see a ton of people down there. And I also wanted to congratulate Tappet Social House. They seem to have had a very nice kickoff weekend that paired well, and it's nice to see kids running up and down the street excited about a new place in downtown Wendell. And with that, Madam Mayor, I believe that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Lutz,
No comment tonight.
Commissioner Eatman,
Nothing else from me, thank you.
Commissioner Honeycutt.
I'm going to borrow from the Hippocratic Oath, because I was going to say this earlier to Director Pulaski, didn't get a chance to. But I appreciate doing no harm, and I want to say thank you. I think that it's important that, and ironically, it's going to be a tough vote for me, because I agree with the efficiency that Commissioner Joyner addressed from the town perspective. I agree with Commissioner Deloach from the standpoint of you don't want to take the torch from 19 people that have carried it so far. And I fully understand that we'll probably have more staff, certainly more staff local support than perhaps Resources for Seniors did, that they were able to access. So my request is, and I hope, I'm sure you guys come up with a wonderful solution to solve my tough vote. So thank you, and I appreciate it. And what you've said to save the curriculum and save the staff and do no harm is awesome. Thank you.
Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Paul White, staff at Universal Chevrolet, First Responders Breakfast this past week, second annual. Had the pleasure of heading out nice and early, cooked a lot of bacon, and they had a record turnout, so it's cool to see Wendell folks, county folks. So thank you, Paul White. Don't forget, we've talked about it tonight, road closures, keep an eye out for that. Third annual fireworks, July 2nd, so hope to see everybody out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Real quickly, last week I attended the groundbreaking at Wake Tech for the Information Technology Building. That's getting ready to get started, so if you see construction out there, that's what that is. They're going to be beginning classes on the Wendell campus this August. I'm real excited about that. So if you're interested in taking some classes out there, please look on their website and take a look at that. I have a request. Could you email us? I saw some people taking pictures up here, slides for presentations for 4A, 4B, and 4C.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Let's see, quick reminder, the next Meet on Main is not going to be until the third Friday night in September. The group takes a break in the hot, hot summer. I think they didn't quite make it. Last Friday night was sweltering. Commissioner Joyner was very kind to say it was hot, it was sweltering. But it was fun, and everybody had a good time, and a lot of town staff was out there sweltering with us, and I appreciate them being there, so thank you for that. A quick reminder that the Wendell Fireworks Show is coming up. We talked about that tonight, Tuesday, July 2nd at the community park. I counted on the list 17 food trucks that'll be there. So there'll be food trucks, music, bring blankets and chairs and things for your kids to do. No coolers, no pets, no personal fireworks, including sparklers. So a quick reminder for that. And I think we heard, but I'll say it again, the park opens at 6, fireworks are at 9. You can park here, but the parking is limited, I think, to 500 vehicles. It will be closed once it's full, but you can park anywhere downtown and then go to 4th Street to the park and ride lot and ride the shuttle, or you can park kind of around the town square and just walk. It's just a couple blocks and come in that way. This road will be closed to pedestrians only, no cars. We heard that tonight, so that's a reminder. If you're coming in a car, come on Landing View. Also, if you want to just drop someone off and circle around and leave, you can come to the loop in front of the town hall and do that. Let's see, is that everything? I had 100 things I wrote down. One more thing. If you're interested in just watching from another place in town, there's a really cool zone of visibility map on the town website, or you can look at and find locations and watch from other places in town. So that's kind of fun too. Also, the Wendell Police Department is hosting a Stars and Stripes and Syrup on Monday, July 1st at 9 at the Wendell Fire Station 3 on Taylor Road. And they're going to serve breakfast to veterans and their families to thank them for their service, and we certainly appreciate their service. The American Legion Post 148 is going to be there giving a presentation, and Feeding America is going to be serving pancakes, sausage, bacon, and other refreshments to veterans and their families. The police are very excited about this. It's new this year, it's very exciting, and so make sure if you know some veterans that they're aware of it, and bring them and come have a little breakfast with them. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Hey, Jeff.